A cup of tea. Today, I'm sharing a Zen story that has stood the test of time. It's called A Cup of Tea, and while it's a simple tale, its lesson is profound and deeply relevant to our lives. Let's begin. Once, a university professor visited a Zen master. The professor had spent years studying, teaching, and sharing knowledge. He considered himself an expert on many subjects, but now he wanted to learn about Zen. The master welcomed him into a quiet tea room, and they sat together in silence. But the professor couldn't stop talking. He shared his thoughts on Zen, his interpretations, his theories, all the while assuming the master would be impressed. The master picked up a teapot and began to pour tea for his guest. The cup filled quickly, but the master kept pouring. The tea overflowed, spilling onto the table and the floor. The professor stared in shock.
"Stop, the cup is full. No more will go in."
Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and assumptions. How can I teach you Zen unless you first empty your cup? The story isn't just about a cup of tea. It's about us, about how we approach life, learning, and even relationships. The overflowing cup represents a mind that's already full of beliefs, judgments, and preconceived ideas. When we're like that, there's no room for anything new to enter. To truly learn or grow, we need to let go of what we think we know. We need to approach life with humility, curiosity, and an open heart. This doesn't mean abandoning all knowledge. Instead, it's about being willing to set it aside for a moment, to truly listen and absorb what life has to offer. Obstacles are the path. In ancient Japan, there was a Zen master named Tetsugen, renowned for his wisdom and compassion. One day, he decided that it was time to create a complete translation of the Buddhist scriptures, a monumental task that would take years of effort and dedication. He began his work with great zeal and a clear vision of what he hoped to achieve. As Tetsugen worked day after day, an unexpected challenge arose. A massive flood devastated the area where he lived, destroying villages, crops, and homes. People were left homeless, hungry, and desperate. The Zen master, who had vowed to complete his work, now found himself in a dilemma. Despite his personal goals, Tetsugen realized that the suffering of the people in the village could not be ignored. He understood that the teachings of compassion and mindfulness were not confined to a book, but needed to be practiced in the present moment. Without hesitation, he set aside his work and devoted himself to helping the survivors of the flood, bringing food, offering shelter, and helping rebuild what was lost. Months passed as Tetsugen worked tirelessly with the people. He sacrificed his time, his energy, and his dream of completing the scriptures. When the disaster had finally passed, and the community had begun to heal, he returned to his task of translating the sacred texts. In the end, Tetsugen completed the translation of the scriptures. But it was not just a translation of words, it was a translation of life itself, enriched by the experiences and obstacles he had faced. The Zen master had learned something profound, that the very obstacles that once seemed like interruptions to his path were, in fact, the path itself. But something profound had changed in him. The years of devotion to others had given him a deeper understanding of his work. Tetsugen realized that his true calling wasn't merely completing the translation. It was in the act of serving others. The obstacles he had encountered, the flood, the destruction, and the suffering, had guided him to a deeper realization of his own path. The true meaning of Tetsugen's story lies in the realization that obstacles are not something to be avoided or resented. Instead, they are the very things that shape our journey. Every challenge, every difficulty, has the potential to guide us toward greater wisdom, compassion, and understanding. The next time you encounter an obstacle, remember, it is not in the way of your path. It is your path. In life, the obstacles we face are not hindrances. They are the steps, the lessons, and the growth we need to walk the true path.